Hey, welcome to Paint It Friday, and we are going to paint an apple and a banana today. So let's get our color palette ready, and we are going to start off with a lemon yellow because that is what I have. And then we are going to do a raw umber because we know how those bananas like to turn a little bit brown, so we want to add some of that to our banana. And those are the only two colors we're going to use for our bananas. So now let's get to the apple, and we're going to use a cadmium red. And then with that, I'm going to add, believe it or not, this color is called light red, although it looks nothing like a light red, but that is what it's called. In my color palette, that's what it's called, a light red. And then we will go with a permanent green to make that leaf. We will also be adding Payne's gray a little bit later. I didn't add that on this palette, but you'll see me add that later. Because the Payne's gray will make a great foreshadowing. So we will take our cold press watercolor paper. I am just using I take a half sheet, I tear that in half, then I half that, and then I half that. So that's how I like to work. I like to work on smaller sheets. So make sure you're using the textured side up. And then we will mix that cadmium red, or whatever red you have that looks close to an apple. And we'll mix that up because we want that to be a more of a watered down value of the apple. And we are just going to, with our brush, we're just going to basically sketch out with our brush the outside of an apple, or the shape of an apple. And that's really not that difficult to do. And you'll be able to make that, define that more as we go along. And then we'll just start filling that in. Now, don't get too rambunctious right away because you're going to want to, I usually do it on the right-hand side. I leave a little bit of white space on there because you want a little bit of shine to that apple. And I don't want it to have red. So now I'm dropping in a more darker value of the cadmium red. And then I'll take that around the apple. Then I will start defining my sides a little bit more as well. But I like that my wash was still a little bit wet, so that gives you that nice wet on wet. And I love that texture, the way it looks when you do the wet on wet. I just love the way that looks and the way it dries. So then we'll start defining those edges of that apple and just smoothing them out just a little bit. But don't forget to leave that shine there. And we'll be able to fix that up a little bit more, but you want to leave at least some of it there. So there we got, the red of our apple on. So now we're going to add that so-called light red. Now I always have a paper towel in my hand when I work. So now you see it looks like it's a little dark going in, but don't worry, we're going to smooth that out. But I'm just dropping it in. Now I'm going to wipe that off of my paper towel, and I'm going to really smooth that in there and just let that blend in on that wet on wet with that cadmium red. And it'll dry so nicely, but it'll give a nice darker value to that cadmium red. So now what I'm doing is I'm pooling over some of the cadmium red into that shine area because I don't want it to be stark white. I want to show a little bit of the red, but I got a little bit too crazy there, so I'm going to fill in with some more of the red because I didn't want the shine to be that big. So now I'm just dropping in some more of the cadmium red, and you can just watch what I do here. I'm just dropping it in here and there. I'm not going to paint the entire apple all over again. I just want it's just here and there, and just defining those sides, those edges again of the apple. because I want it to have different values, my apple to have different values. Because if you look at an apple, it doesn't always have the exact same value color the whole way around. But I really do like the way that light red color, the way that that fits in there with that cadmium red to do that apple. So I'm very happy with the way the apple looks. I don't really think it needs any more color than what's on there. I think it's perfect as is. So let's get our green and let's just make a very basic leaf coming out of the apple. Just a basic leaf shape. Very simple. My brush was a little bit dry with my green, so I'm going to just add a little bit extra water on there and just kind of smooth that out a little bit because a little bit too much of a dry brush. And I want to just a little bit wetter on there. So we'll smooth out those edges, attach that stem, and then we'll bring some of that green down into the red. Since it's a complementary color, it'll work nicely. It'll give some more shade and some more shadow down in there to where that indentation comes down into the top of the apple. And just a tiny little stem coming out there. Then I'm going to just work lightly and smooth in some of that green into that red, which I don't have a problem with that. I think it worked out very well. I'm very happy with how that blended in. Then I'll take some of that back up into the leaf, as you'll see here in a minute. And don't worry, there was a little bit of red on my brush, but you know what? I wasn't mad about it because it just worked. It blended in very nicely. Just gave it another shadow, another texture, and I'm fine with that. So once we're done with that leaf, we're going to let that apple dry. But I'm very happy with the apple. I like the texture. I like the shades and the shadow, and I just like overall the look of it. So now we're going to turn our paper, and because we're going to have these are going to be two separate paintings. So we're going to do the banana, but I'm going to turn it to the side. Because I originally was going to have the banana coming over in front of the apple, but I decided I want to show you how to paint these both separately. So this isn't going to be like one like frameable composition. If you want to actually do one, you can actually get two paintings out of this. You can do one separate where you can do an apple. You can just do it, larger, and then the other one you can do a banana. So here we're going to do the banana, but we're going to have it going the long way. So I'll be turning my paper. And then once again, I'll be just drawing the outline shape of the banana with the lemon yellow. Which is kind of like a little canoe, little boat shape. Get that in there, a little pointy in there up the top. And then just coming back down around. A little more rounded there at that end. And then add a little bit of water. And then just pull that yellow in. So it's not so yellow. Just want to pull that in. And then I saw my bottom there. Just need to round it a little bit more. Started to look more like a hammock. So now I took the raw umber at the tip, just dropping that in there. And I'll do that at both ends. And then I'll just do that throughout. I'll just here and there just drop in that raw umber. And don't worry, if it gets too dark, don't worry, because you can smooth that in. So I'm just kind of making those lines, but you want to go with the flow of the shape of the banana. Your lines need to make that curve. So now I'm just going to drop. You see how that's nice and dark, but that's okay because watch what we're going to do. See, I wet my brush a little bit and then I wipe it off on my paper towel and then I just kind of smooth it in, and then it kind of gives that look of that darkness on a banana. And then we'll just repeat that process for different areas. So like I stated, now what I'm doing right here is I'm trying to pull a little bit of that lemon yellow off because it did get a little too lemony yellow more than banana yellow. So I'm just trying to lighten things up there a little bit. I need to look at my yellow supply. I'm a little bit low on that. Now I'm going to add a little bit more of the raw umber here and there because my banana is getting ready to be used for banana bread. So I'm going to put some more brown spots on it. But I want to make that end there, get just like, a banana end, which is brown to begin with. I thought about putting a little green somewhere, but I kind of wanted my banana to be a little more ripe. But you certainly could if you wanted. If you wanted your banana to be more green, you could certainly add some green in your banana. But I want mine to be a little brown, a little yellowy, brownish yellow, or yellowy brown. How do I want to say that? So I'm going to keep continuing to add those raw umber in there. And then you're just taking a damp, wet brush and just smoothing it in. That's what I'm doing. I'm just smoothing it, smoothing all of that in, so it's not too harsh of a brown. And I'm just kind of smoothing out some more of that yellow. And that's kind of pretty much it. There's not a whole lot. I mean, it depends how dark brown you want it, how light you want it. So here I'm going to be showing you the Payne's gray and what that's going to look like. So there I just grabbed some Payne's gray. So that's pretty dark, but we don't want to, we want to have it show you what it looks like as it gets lighter in value. Then I'm going to show you over on the red, like from the apple, like you're going to bring that out from we'll bring it out from the apple, to give that shade. So let's get started with that. So I like to start off light, and we're just going to start there at the bottom of the apple and just start coming out with the shadow. I will tell you, shadows are my nemesis. That's the one thing even myself that I need to practice on and making the right type of shadow. So now that I made that shadow, now I'm going to go with a little bit more of a darker value. You want to have a darker value where the object meets, the surface. But now I'm going to smooth that in because I need to have that transition to where it goes from dark to medium to light. And I'm still thinking about, I think I need a little bit darker, but I still need it to smooth out a bit more. Making shadows can be very tricky, and that I will tell you. And if you're just doing a painting like if you're going to make this into two separate paintings, you can, you don't even have to put a shadow on. If you just want to do one big apple, say you have an apple, you want to make an apple that you want to frame, you don't have to put a shadow on it. You can just have the picture of the apple. Or if you want to make apples to make a pattern with, that you want to make a printable, you don't have to make a shadow. Now I apologize, I'm off screen here a little bit as I do the same thing for the banana. I do move it up because I realize, oh my goodness, I'm not even on the screen. But I'm basically doing the same thing I did with the apple. And I will move it up, I promise you I do. Filming is a tricky business. But I do want you to see how far up the banana I went. There you go. I'm like, oh dear, I'm not even on the camera. So there we go. We're just making those shadows. But back to what I was saying about, you know, the single apple, like you can just create a pattern with one apple and make, you know, scan it and upload it like into Canva and just create a pattern with that, and you can make some fun things with that. So just giving it a good look. My ring light tends to shine down, and I always have to give it a look like straight on. So what I'm doing on here is I'm writing, you know, as a reminder that these are two separate paintings. It's not one complete composition. So we have our apple and we have our banana. But that's really all I have for you for today. Our Paint It Friday is an apple and a banana. 2 for 1. So I hope you enjoyed it today, and I would really love to see your paintings. If you don't belong to our Facebook group, Watercolor Tutorials and Inspiration, I would love to have you join us there. And yeah, so here is the final image, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay colorful, stay creative, and have fun. Bye bye.